Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Joe Knows the 2021 NFL Draft Class. And today we are going to be reviewing the Washington football team and yet another good haul, yet another great draft class that they have. I like these players a lot. You guys did well, and I'm looking forward to reviewing them. Washington football team, you guys are on the verge of becoming extremely significant. You have been building and you now have accomplished probably the most or one of the top five most balanced teams in the NFL. You've got a defense that looks like it's ready to be top three, top five, and you got an offense that's got the capability of doing that too. We'll see what Fitzmagic brings. Me myself, I'm a huge fan of that guy. There's around 12 of us. There's around 12 of us contributors here at Toilets to Titles, and I think to a man, we're all fans of Fitzmagic. And to me, this guy's like a swashbuckling pirate. I love him, and he's got an arm. He just seems to enjoy the game, and he's an older guy too. He's in the later part of his career, but he just seems to enjoy the game, and I enjoy him. So I'm hoping that he brings a lot to your team because this offense of yours is ready to roll, and the defense is ready to take that step to be elite. When I say elite, I'm talking top five. So this is going to be a really interesting year. You guys, you've had a lot of mediocrity for the past few decades, and you know what? You deserve better. You're a great fan base, and I think you're there. I think you're there. You guys are looking scary, and this draft class just helped you even more. You guys are doing it right. Your front office, Ron Rivera, the guy knows what he's doing. Is a very well accomplished head coach, and you guys have everything going right now. So hopefully you stay healthy. Hopefully Fitzmagic brings the magic and brings you guys to a new level like you deserve, like you haven't had in a long time. But let's review your draft class. And just before we get to that juicy content, though, let me go through the bells and whistles real quick on where you can find our show. You can find us at Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, and Facebook, where we have two pages. That's Toilets to Titles, and the second one is called When a Family Breaks, which is basically our Facebook page for trading sports memorabilia. It's really cool. Check it out. If you can, please just take a tenth of a second to hit that like button. We'd really appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. And if you can, if you're not watching us in Apple, if you have 30 seconds to spare, if you can go over there and give us a 5-star review, we'd greatly appreciate that as well. It all helps. Thank you so much if you can do that. And last but not least, if you'd like to learn additionally how you can further support the show, you can go to patreon.com/toilets to titles and you'll find that out. Let's move on to our content. The Washington football team, you guys are looking so good. You had 10 picks this draft. That's a lot of picks. That includes 2 third rounders, and you had 3 seventh rounders. I think you made those seventh rounders count too. I like them a lot. I try to look for a theme for each team's draft class. And some teams focus on defense, some teams focus on offensive line, what have you. You guys, your front office took players everywhere, which is certainly not a criticism. Certainly not a criticism. That's fine. That's great. So I thought you got good value pretty much everywhere, and you even got some stars in the making. And I just thought it was interesting. And so you're adding depth everywhere. I like it a lot. So let's move on to your first pick. And this guy was shooting up the boards for like the last like 2 months leading up to draft day. Jamin Davis, linebacker out of Kentucky. Man, he shot up quick and far. He really did, from like being like a projected like third round pick, maybe fourth round pick, to being a first round pick. And you guys took him in the 19th pick overall. And I thought it was a good pick for you guys. I really did. I like this guy. I think he's going to need a little time. I don't think he's going to step in and be a stud. I think he's going to step in immediately and be a good player. And you're going to see him develop pretty quickly over his rookie year, over his first year. But you just give him a little more time to season and to cook at the right temperature. I think this guy is going to be a Pro Bowler. I think he is probably the missing link in your defense. Don't get me wrong, Chase Young is your generational stud, flat out. But I think this is the guy who's going to kind of like bring it all together. I think your defense is excellent. I think you could use a few more pieces. Don't get me wrong, but your defense is looking phenomenal. And I think this guy is just such a nice addition to your defense. I liked it a lot, and I didn't think it was a reach. I remember, and I don't really discuss reaches. I'm just here to talk about the guys that you picked and what I think they can bring your team. There were maybe some experts or some other people who thought maybe it was a little bit of a reach, but I don't think so. I thought it was perfect for your defense. I like him a lot. The guy's got nice size. He's a little on the lighter side, but that's okay. He's 6'3", so he's got length. Last year, he averaged 10 tackles per game and he had three interceptions. That's for a linebacker. That's good. This guy covers and he can play the run. He can do it all. This is a three-down linebacker. Obviously, you're taking a linebacker in the first round. He better be a three-down linebacker, or at least projected to be when he's developed a little more. And the guy is quick. He's got field awareness, meaning that he's basically diagnosing plays as they're happening. So if he sees a bunch of guys on the opposing team on the offense, lining up for a for for like a running play going in a certain direction, he's already diagnosed that. All right, so this is a smart player. He's got high football IQ. He's able to cover tight ends. Unfortunately, there aren't many three down linebackers who can do that. Usually, they're either run stuffers or they're good in coverage, not both. He does it. He does it, and I love this dude. As I say in the blue bar here, I had to type it out because in all caps because I like this guy. I love him. And I thought he was great for your team. Moving on, Samuel Cosmi, otherwise known as I should say Cosmi. Sam Cosmi, offensive tackle out of Texas. You got him with the 19th pick in the second round. I like it too. I like this too. This is a guy, he actually reminds me a lot of Creed Humphrey. I forgot what team he went to. I reviewed him just recently when I did that other team's review. He reminds me of an offensive tackle version of Creed Humphrey in that he's not flashy, but he's steady. And I think this guy is going to translate just fine to the NFL. I thought you got a good pick here in the second round. I don't know if I'm not fully aware of your offensive line situation in Washington, whether you need left tackle, right tackle, what have you. This guy, I think, is going to be, I think he'll probably wind up being a right tackle. He's played mostly left tackle in college. He began his NCAA career as a right tackle, and then the last few years he's been playing left tackle. But obviously, he's got experience at both. I think he's going to be a good, solid player for a long time, like Creed Humphrey, not flashy, but solid. You can roll him out there. He might not be an elite player, but he's going to be someone you don't have to worry about. You're not going to worry about your quarterback getting crushed consistently by Cosmi. This is someone who will may get beaten occasionally by elite edge rushers. It happens to most of them anyway. But I think this is a solid player you're going to have for a long time that you're going to like a lot. And I think I thought it was really nice to get him in the second round. He's 6'6", 314 pounds, and he's pretty athletic too. This guy's big, so I think you got a guy here who's gonna play either the left or the right, and wherever it winds up being, I think he's going to be solid for you. Well done, Washington. I like that second round pick a lot. It's not easy to find competent tackles, and I think you definitely found a competent tackle here. Third round pick, Benjamin St. Justa. I think it's Justa, or is it Justy, or is it Just? I forgot. You know what? I completely forgot. I actually never heard his name pronounced. I read up a lot on him leading up to the draft. For like a few months leading up to the draft, I spend a lot of time reading up on players. And I watch some film on players, especially like, the top players, the top tier players. He's not a top tier player, but this guy's going to wind up being a solid cornerback for you. He's 6 foot, 202 pounds. That's nice size for a cornerback, and he's an outside cornerback. And I think he was very competent in college, and I think he's going to translate well to the NFL, just given some time. It's not easy for cornerbacks. There is a period of transition usually. So just give it some time. But I think this guy's got the physical traits that you want, and he's very good at his coverage skills were good. He's very good. He wasn't like an interception machine, but he was always getting his hand on the ball a lot, batting balls away. So just give him a little time. This guy's solid, and I think he can be not maybe not like a number one cornerback, but I think he could wind up being a solid number two cornerback for you guys. And I thought in the third round, I thought it was good value. I liked it a lot. There really weren't any reaches, and I don't really discuss reaches like I said before. I don't. That's not why I'm doing these videos. I'm just really trying to evaluate and show you what I think Oh man. All right, guys, you know what? I'm not going to stop recording. We're already 10 minutes in. I'm sorry. My screen went blank there for a little bit. If I broke up, I apologize. You heard me curse. I said the S word. I apologize. I was just about to end the broadcast and restart. I'm not going to do that. We're already 10 minutes in. I'm moving on to Dyami Brown, so I apologize. But I got a bad connection there for a second. Moving on to your next third round pick. Holy cow, you made your picks count. Dyami Brown, wide receiver, North Carolina. Third round, you got him the 19th pick in the third round. 6'1", 189 pounds. This guy is a potential star that you got in the third rounds. In the third round, excuse me. His last 2 years, he averaged 20 yards per catch. The last 2 years. This dude can take the top off of a defense, and he had 20 touchdowns combined in the last 2 years. This guy's a playmaker, man, and he also he had eight. I think it was throughout his entire career at in college, where he had a total of 8 touchdowns of 40 plus yards. This guy is dangerous, and if you're pairing him up with Scary Terry, holy cow, guys, you're putting together a really nice wide receiver core. And I love what you're doing here. This is such a great pick in the third round. For a lot of us who follow the draft and who are reading up a lot leading up to the draft, Dyami Brown is one of those guys who a lot of us had our eyes on, and because he's extremely talented, and you know what, you really hit it out of the park with this third round pick here. That guy's got potential star written all over him. Moving on to John Bates, who you took it with the 19th pick in the fourth round. John Bates, I had to read up on him. This wasn't someone I was all that familiar with. I do remember hearing his name a little more and more leading up to the draft when I read or listened to some interviews with experts uh, who were talking about like sleeper picks for tight ends. And John Bates' name was coming up quite a bit there in those conversations. 6'5", 250 pounds. This guy is a track and field star. I like that, and I like that with tight ends. This guy is in that he's an athlete. All right, so he's got good athleticism. He was averaging 12 yards per catch in college. I think that's pretty good for a tight end, and he's got good build. And it's my understanding that in college he was a solid blocker, nothing great but solid. But he's got the build, and he's going to get stronger too over time, over the next few years, as he's working out, as he's getting bigger, older, and he's going to get bigger and stronger and more solid. So this guy could wind up being he could wind up being a three down tight end. He could wind up being a starting tight end down the road. It's possible, and I don't think it's like a crazy possibility. I think it's there's a realistic chance that could happen. But if not, I think he'll be a very good number two tight end for you. And in the fourth round, that's not bad at all. And this guy is like tight ends should be. He's a good seam runner. So that's what I like to see. It reminds me of Mark Bavaro. I'm a Giants fan myself, huge Mark Bavaro fan. Nobody ran the seam route as good as him, at least during his day. Okay, he was awesome. So I think that's what they should be doing. Moving on, Derek Forrest, safety out of Cincinnati, 19th pick in the fifth round, 5'11", 206 pounds. Those are good measurements for safety. That sounds like a safety to me. The guy had 106 tackles in 2019, including 3 interceptions. He's really mostly a box safety, but he can play the nickel, so you've got some versatility there. But I think this guy's got some more ball skills than meets the eye, and I think he might wind up being able to give you more versatility in the coverage game um, than maybe some people anticipate. So I'm not saying he's going to be that way, but at the very least, with the fifth round pick, if you can get a box safety out there, a good one, and this guy had, like I said, he had 106 tackles. That's a good amount. That's good. That's good value. In the fifth round, you got a good guy who, if he doesn't want it being a starter, it sounds like he can be a solid backup. And so I thought it was nice. I liked it a lot. And then moving on to your sixth pick, the 41st pick in the sixth round, Cameron Cheeseman. Actually, I think it is Cheeseman. And so he was a long snapper from Michigan, which is interesting because you don't see that often, right? Doesn't sound sexy, but the fact is that long snappers are necessary. And you get guys on teams that are just all they do is long snapping. Um, I'm a Giants fan myself. We had Zach Diassi as a long snapper for 11 years, and they kept him around because he was excellent at what he did. And he played in some other aspects of special teams too. And once in a blue moon, you'd see him on defense as a linebacker if there were a whole bunch of injuries. But for the most part, he was a long snapper. That's why he was on the team, and he did it well. So this guy's probably going to be on your team for like the next 10 to 12 years at least, because teams need long snappers. You got, I guess, your front office got a guy that they like. And then the 6th round, can't complain. And that's when you start taking these types of guys. So I liked it a lot. You start taking long snappers and fullbacks like in the 6th round. So I liked it. I thought it was fine. You guys need him. You got him. 7th round, you got 3 picks in the 7th round. This is your first one. It was the 12th pick in the 7th round. You got Will Bradley King, defensive end out of Baylor. 6'3", 252 pounds. This guy's got nice length. And what I like when you're drafting players this late in the game, you want to see guys who are dominant at their schools, especially if they came from smaller programs. Now, he was drafted out of Baylor, but he spent his first 3 years at Arkansas State, where he was pretty dominant against competition. I don't have the numbers up here. Just take my word for it. I'm not saying he was an absolute force, but he was pretty dominant. And I think he's got some good intangible traits with his size. And so, but he did do well at Baylor as well. He's known to be tough, and the guy has a motor that doesn't stop. I like that. That's music to my ears. I like that a lot. And he's got apparently high football IQ. I like that too. I like guys who understand what's going on in front of them when they're playing on defense, understand what an offense is doing. And when I hear high football IQ, I assume this is a guy who also studies a lot of film. And I love players like that. So good job with your first pick in the 7th round. Shaka Toney, here's a name I was very familiar with. This is a guy who's an edge out of Penn State, 19th pick in the 7th round, 6'2", 242 pounds, a little on the smaller side, but he comes from a very good program in Penn State. Penn State has been producing real studs in the NFL over the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, and more on the defensive side of the ball. And this guy had production over there too. I'm actually surprised he fell to the 7th round. I remember seeing some mock drafts earlier this year, like January, February, where he was going like 4th round. I saw 3rd round. I thought that was kind of crazy. I didn't like him that much, but I didn't think he'd last to the 7th round. I think that's a steal with this guy in terms of potential. He had 20 and a half sacks over 4 years at Penn State, and quite a few of them came in bunches. I know like he had like 4 sacks in one game against Indiana, but he was also up against, he had better talent around him that was, he wasn't starting all the time. So there was better talent that was taking more snaps than he was getting. But this guy has got, for 7th round, I think he offers you a lot of potential, and he probably won't be a starter, but man, for depth, I think Shaka Toney was a great pick in the 7th round. You got great value here, and he's known to be explosive off the snap, and he's an athletic player. So that's good stuff. You got stuff to work here. I like the pick 7th round, man. You guys really hit it out of the park with this draft class of yours. I like it a lot. And your last pick, 31st pick in the 7th round, Dax Milne, wide receiver out of BYU. This was Zach Wilson's #1 target last year. He was actually a walk-on at BYU, and he's not a big guy. 6'1" a nice height. 193 pounds is pretty good. You look at him; he looks pretty thin, actually. But it's fair. It's all solid. I'm not so concerned about that. Look at Devontae Smith. He's thin. He's not the tallest. The dude is going to be, in my opinion, Devontae Smith is going to be an elite wide receiver. If not this year, then next year. But Dax Milne, 70 catches last year for almost 1,200 yards. He had 6 games of 100 yards, of over 100 yards. 73% of his catches went for first downs. That's really good. This guy knows how to get open, I think. He's known to be a precise route runner. He's not a burner, and he's not like a route technician, say like an OBJ, but he's known to run routes precisely. And in the 7th round, what more do you want? You got a guy who put up almost 1,200 yards with Zach Wilson last year. That's great value, man. That's great value. Maybe he winds up being not much, but you know what? In the 7th round, you got a guy here who could wind up possibly being giving you something. He gave good production in college, especially his last year in the NCAA. So guys, you did a really good job with your draft class. And from beginning to end, I love the value that you got. I love Jamin Davis, but I even love your late round picks in terms of the value that they offer, the potential. I think you guys did really well, and I think you're building something special over there in Washington. I really do. And before we go, don't forget to, if you can, we have like 12 of us here now at Toilets and Titles. Here are the Twitter handles down at the blue bar. and a great bunch of guys. Follow them all. We're all into the NFL. Obviously, we're taking our time to do podcasting. We're also into dynasty football and just fantasy football in general. And that's what a lot of our content is about. That's what we started off as. Now we're doing more and more NFL content, and so we're going to have a nice mix. But NFL content and fantasy football coming to Toilets and Titles. We're the content creators for you guys. And last but not least, just a reminder, if you could hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell. It helps us out a lot. Give us that 5-star Apple review if you have the time. And if I was going to say for a free shot at an entry to our Frankenstein League, but you know what? We just filled it. But next year, keep your eyes open. I think we're gonna bring out more people to our Frankenstein League. It's a league that we started. It's a fantasy league that we started for you, the listeners, the viewers, the subscribers, and then we also play with as well. We're in the league. All of us contributors of Toilets Titles. We're in the league. We play. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be my first year. I'm really looking forward to doing it. And we have some different rules, and it's gonna be cool. I'm really looking forward to it. But anyway, hey, that's the review for the Washington football team. You guys did well. I had a great time reviewing these players, and you guys are going to be a force to reckon with for quite a long time. All right, everyone, that's it. I'm done. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace. Love you all, and I'll see you tomorrow with another episode of Joe Knows. Take care, everyone.